How we doing? How's the afternoon going? Morning went great. I definitely got out, did my little Where's Waldo drive in total peace and total silence, which actually worked out really good. I got downtown though and definitely got choked up. The memories of being down there on that downtown street, oh, the parades and wow, it's a shame that we've lost that. We need to get that back. The times when downtown was the place to be, and festivals and although we do it here, I've just not been part of it. My world has been separated from yours, and it's been that way by design. I've always thought of it as shame, but in reality, it was because I had to walk a very exclusive path that kept me where I needed to be and in the mindset that I needed because it was challenging. I will not lie. I really have been suicidal because I didn't want to stay. But the Father wanted to make sure I did. And it was all about getting here to tonight, to tomorrow, and the world finding the peace that it needed. And it was all in me. So if I found too much joy, I would fall apart and have too much sadness. You know, a lot of people realize or don't realize that that really is what bipolarism is. The joy that the world experiences. It's a roller coaster because without the highs and the lows, it would be boring. It would be different. See, we can't really appreciate a happy, great Friday without a rainy Monday. But some people literally cannot handle those highs and lows very well. And sometimes it's chemicals that needs to help. But getting control of your emotions is really the key. Matter of fact, everyone in their path needs to realize that their emotions, they can be a train out of control if you can't control them. So you do need to find peace with that. And that is a very important thing. But let's go to the subject that I talked about earlier and how important it is about not messing with other people's paths. Because you never know. You might be responsible for someone not being an angel because you thought better of what they should be doing instead of what God had planned for them. See, God had plans for a lot of the black people. He wanted them to come to America and to become this massive amount of angels up in heaven. And they had to suffer. And they did. They were slaves. They worked the plantations. They picked that cotton and worked them farms. And first of all, America needed it at that time. It needed a labor force to do that. And second of all, back where they came from, they pretty much were living as cavemen. Not very good chances to be an angel there. It was rough. They just were living as cavemen. Well, getting them on the boats and getting them to America and getting them saved was God's plans. And did he like slavery? No, he never did. He never has. He didn't like the Hebrew slaves the Egyptians that they did to the slaves to build them pyramids for him. But did he reward those slaves? Oh, yes, he did. Yes, he did. They were the ones that were making it into heaven, not the Egyptians that were slapping them with the whips. And the same thing with the plantation owners and those guys that wanted to do the KKK program. Yeah, they no, they got Fight Club tickets. They wanted to torture people. Oh yeah, we got a package for you, buddy. Yeah, but this one man stood up and he thought he was going to do the best for them. He was going to stop the awful treatment of the black people. What he really did, and what he cries for every day, is he took a lot of black people and made them lose their angel status because they stood up and fought. And instead of accepting the life and living as they were supposed to be doing as servants in boot camp, because that's what they really were. We all are. He single-handedly created race wars where color became an issue. And we have yet to bury that one today. Everybody wants to stand up and fight when you're supposed to be serving and accepting this path that Father has put in front of you. Well, we don't need the slavery anymore, and we don't need the farm hands and all that. But do you see the tolerance that you need to be in life? And there was a lot of white guys that would have been normal and possible angels that took the dumbass path and decided to become the KKK to counter what they were doing. Actually, it was a whole big nightmare because he thought he was doing what was right in his mind and went against God's wills as to finding a path of his own. He took it upon himself to take the paths of all those people that no longer made it as angels. A lot of them got Fight Club tickets because they killed people. And the same thing with the white people. Fight Club tickets. You need to be careful when you try to guide someone on their path because you become responsible after that. You could be messing with what the Father has in mind for them. Who knows what could have actually happened? They could have actually maybe solved it without violence, but most likely not. Men have been evil cavemen for a long time. It's so easy to hate. So easy. But he sits up, Martin Luther King sits up there in heaven and cries every day for what he did. He made it into heaven, but he's not an angel. He's not allowed. There's no one that's allowed to lift him up. And from what I hear, he wouldn't take it anyway. He spends every day pretty much telling the Father how sorry he was for what he did. And working up there with other White Walkers, especially those that are there because of him. You know, working the plantation, living and dying on that farm. That was an angel's occupation right there. Just doing the right thing and making your family happy and and being as happy as you could. Because it was awful back then. It's always been awful. Mankind has always had suffering. There isn't a single person on this planet that hasn't dealt with suffering and had chances where they had to turn the cheek or attack and kill. Turning the cheek was the right answers. Attack and kill? No. That's another reason why we aren't going to allow anyone up on a soapbox anymore telling people what to do. You worry about yourself. Yeah, everybody's on their own little path and their own program. We can fellowship and we can talk about ideas and things that we might want to join up and do together, but we're going to do it together. And we're going to decide together. And we're going to make things happy. And nobody is ever going to be able to tell somebody else what to do or to ever hurt anybody else. So, that is the true story of the tears of Martin Luther King. And the Father wanted me to express that. And it's not to put him out there to make him look bad, because in his heart, that's why he's in heaven, he thought he was doing the right thing. And sometimes you might think you're doing the right thing for someone else in their path, but are you? Do you understand the will of God? I don't think so. Probably stand back. Let them figure it out on their own. That's the best path for you. Don't take responsibility for their path. Don't try to guide them. You never know. You might really be screwing up. And them. Even though in your heart, you think you know what is best. Anyway, I'll be back with more. We'll talk. Second Son, Second King. We'll talk at you.